right, it's that time again to cut through the noise. Our Mythbuster series delivers mental health truths like this one. Time for Myth of the Week. You have to heal alone. Oh, I hate this one. The idea that healing is a solo journey. Our nervous systems are wired to heal in connection. Think of babies. They regulate by being held, not by self-talk. Text someone thinking of you and notice how your body shifts just by reaching out. Hey there, welcome back. I'm Erin, a therapist, a mom, and creator of the Mind Circuit app. Welcome to my podcast, Notes to My Nervous System. This isn't just another wellness podcast. It's where science meets real life, where your brain and body can finally make sense together. We'll break down things with stories and practical tools, and even a laugh or two when you need it the most. I'm grateful you showed up today. Seriously, you could be anywhere right now, but you chose this space, and I don't take that lightly. So here's my promise. I'll keep it honest. Some days I'm mellow and stoic. Other days I'm buzzing and interruptive. And every now and then a swear will slip out. But every time I'll be 100% me and give you tools you can actually use. So hit subscribe, and if you're leaving a review, let's make it a nice one. Life's too short for bad vibes. All right, let's take a full Mind Circuit recharge moment before we dive in. Start by placing your feet on the ground. You're going to inhale deeply through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. And then tap left, right, left, right. So you can cross your arms over your shoulder if you like. Each tap is going to send a signal. I'm safe. I'm here. I'm ready. Keep breathing slow and steady. Notice your jaw unclench and your shoulders drop and your thoughts get clearer. This is your nervous system syncing up. This is you getting recharged. All right. We are recharged and ready to meet and learn about our guest. Let me ask you something. Has there ever been a moment that splits your life in two, the before and the after? For us here in Western North Carolina, Hurricane Helene was that storm. It didn't just take down trees and power lines. It shook the way we saw our community and each other. Here's the thing. When everything felt impossible, my guest today, Kristen Hicks, didn't wait around for someone else to fix it. She started the Blessing Project in the middle of chaos, and it became a lifeline for families who had lost everything. This conversation isn't about disaster. It's about grit, community, and the reminder that one person deciding to act can change everything. What do you remember most clearly about Helene when it hit? And what kind of still sticks?
Yeah. So we have 4 kids and we live in Swannanoa, which is now on the map, right? People kind of know what Swannanoa is because of it. We were lucky enough to not have direct damage to our home. We were inches away. The water had gotten a few inches from our bedroom window, but then my husband rushed to the back to get the gate open, and so the water kind of poured into our backyard. But of course, like most of us, we went without power and water for weeks and weeks and weeks. And but since the storm, we were just kind of looking for ways to serve. I mean, that's just our natural, I guess, our natural instinct is to help. And so we went out and tried to help people by getting ropes and life jackets and, the whole nine. It was a tough day for sure. We witnessed a lot. My children witnessed a lot, and but they also, it was something that we were blocked in from anybody and everybody, and so every road to our community was closed and destroyed. So you have to do something, and the community really pulled together as best we could.
Oh, good. Um, what made you then take everything you went through and being a parent of four, you're very busy and you have your own small business on top of this.
Mhm.
How did that idea of the Blessing Project come from everything you were going through?
So we had partnered with a church across the street, and we were delivering food to the elderly and bringing, taking supplies. And eventually the roads started to open back up. And so we, were just helping. And then 2 days before the storm, I had had my 20-year reunion with my high school
Oh,
classmates. And I think that was just a God moment because we were able to, rekindle and touch base. And it was just good to meet up with some people. We didn't have a 10-year, we didn't have a 15-year, we went straight to the 20. And so it was just a good time. And then the storm hit. And then about 2 weeks after the storm, I get a call from a classmate, good friends of
mhm.
ours, who said they live in Hickory, which is where I went to school. Um, and they said, we have a truckload full of blessings that we have gathered for Western North Carolina. And we want to drop it off, but we have no place to put it. Um, so I called a friend of mine who owns Pineview Buildings, a shed company. We've known each other for probably a decade. I asked him, can I borrow a shed in order to put the supplies
Mhm.
into, and until I figure out a place to put it? Because, like you
Right.
said, I owned two businesses. I owned a social media marketing company, and then I own a software company. So I had no intentions of starting a nonprofit. And
Mhm.
so we got all the supplies up here. We emptied it out into a shed late at night, and it took like 6 people to unload it. It was a lot.
Oh, God.
And then honestly, I didn't know where to take it. I'm not in the nonprofit world, so I had no idea where to take it, how to disperse it. And then God just gave me a vision of, you know, just open up a little storefront
Mhm.
and, pass it out to people who need it. And honestly, there was a lot of people that were bringing supplies in, especially clothing, and it
Mhm.
was getting left outside to the elements and debris and rain, and people were still getting it because they had nothing. And so the dignity side of things really was important to me. Not that we're not good enough or that
Mhm.
we are better, but that we all deserve it.
Right.
We all deserve,
That we're
you know,
all treated with respect, regardless
that's
of
right.
whether you need support or don't.
That's right. We all deserve to have clothes that aren't full of debris, and so
Absolutely.
so and with the shed, I could lock it, I could lock it, close it. And I
Mhm.
thought, well, we'll just do it a couple of days a week. And then yeah, it just never stopped. I mean,
No, I remember driving past it a couple of times, and you guys had lines out the way and
yep,
um, in the middle of buildings that are just destroyed
yeah.
and debris everywhere. There's this shed with all these people in line, and they're actually smiling and talking. It was nice to see in the middle of the disaster
A lot of people
coming
came
together.
just for prayer, just for conversation. And it was it was in November that we opened the first blessing barn,
Mhm.
and the Amish were here building sheds for people to live in.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they had come over and looked at the barn and saw what we were doing and they said, you need a bigger building. And so little did I know there was one being built for us that was
I didn't know
much bigger.
that.
Yep, much bigger than, and that's the one that we're in now. So
Oh, okay.
so the one that we're in now is the Blessing Barn 2.0. It's the bigger version. But we started in November, and which was right around the holidays. So
Mhm.
we decided to open up what was called the holiday shop. And that was a way for people to have Christmas for the holidays. We had trees and wrapping paper and gifts for adults and kids. And, they could come in and just pick. I mean, everything was free and it was just great.
That's
We had
beautiful.
hundreds of people. After that, I thought, well, we'll stop after Christmas, but
Hmm.
the supplies, I mean, just kept coming, and we kept seeing a need, and so we continued. And I think it was December. I decided I either needed to stop
Hmm.
doing the nonprofit, or I needed to stop my marketing company because I couldn't do both and be a mom,
No,
and
of course not.
and it was just too much. So I chose to stop the marketing company. I shut it down, and then continue to run the nonprofit. Which, yes, we became a 501c3, and we moved into our new building in January. And then it became a calling on my heart to get to people who couldn't get to us. And
Mm.
that's when we raised money for the Blessing Bus. So we have
I've
our
seen
mobile
your
ministry.
bus out and
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. We had to raise $26,000
Oh
for the
my
bus. And
goodness.
it was custom built for a race car team that is it was like their merch vendor bus. And so they
Okay.
had like shirts and hats and all these things, and they opened up the window, and at the race they would, sell merchandise out of it.
Gotcha.
So it had all these custom shelves, and when I saw it,
Yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh, we could put toilet paper, paper towel,
Oh
shampoo,
yeah.
I
Perfect
just
fit.
it was perfect. And so we raised $15,000, and the money stopped. Like like
Hmm.
there was no more other resources coming in. And a good friend of mine was on Whatnot, which is a social media platform, and she had shared about, what we were doing, and somebody had heard about the Blessing Bus and loved the idea, and he ended up um, coming to the barn and
Hmm.
surprising us with the remainder that we needed,
Oh my
and wrote a
gosh.
check for 11,000. We
That's
cashed it,
incredible.
yep, and went and picked it up the very next weekend. So we have been supporting a, a little over 4,000 people a month through the Blessing Barn and the bus. And so yeah, so it's been a lot. We do personal projects, we do Project Comfort, which is heating and AC. We have project we do blessing bags and blessing bins. So the blessing bags, we made over close to 300 and sent those to Texas when they had their
Oh, so
floods.
you're giving to other communities as well, just not Western North Carolina.
I mean, our central focus is Helene related, but if we have a surplus of supplies that we see the needs to go towards, we're doing
Hmm.
it. And
Oh, that's
so,
wonderful.
yep. So we've been able to take the bus to West Virginia when they had their flood, because the needs change in disaster. It's we don't need necessarily the muck boots and all that in the
Right.
stages that we're in now, and they do. So when we had a surplus, we took those down. So it's really evolved, and we just in the last 2 weeks purchased a food trailer, and so we're going to be looking to cook more. We currently have partnered with Mercy Chefs, which is a huge nationally known nonprofit that provides food. They were birthed out of Katrina, and
Okay.
incredible organization. I mean, just incredible. We had the privilege of having the founders at the Blessing Barn,
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
yes, they were just a sweet, sweet couple. And they have done so many things
And
across.
they understand what it's like to be in this thick of it, of not knowing, are we going to continue to get help?
Yeah,
When is it stopping? What kind of help are they still giving us? What do we still actually need? There's just
yeah,
so much unknown during all of it.
it is. And they've been doing it for a while. And they also, I think, similar to me and us taking pride in dignity of like our shop. If you walk
Yeah.
into the Blessing Barn, I want it to feel very dignified. I wanted it to feel very boutique-ish almost,
Mhm.
like, it's a store and you shop in
Oh,
a basket,
it's super cute.
and we bag it for you. It's an experience almost, where
Hmm.
with Mercy Chefs, they really take pride in, you know, really homegrown, thought out meals. It is not, just burgers and hot dogs. I mean,
Right.
it is really so. They've been here since day one, and they have been able to supply our food Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so they will eventually have to leave, which we understand. And so with that said, we don't want food to stop. My husband and I, we actually met and owned restaurants when we first were married and dating. So restaurants and food is a passion of ours, and so to
Oh,
feed
so
people,
this is just like the next phase for you guys?
it is. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And do you feel like this is something that Western North Carolina is going to continue to need? Are you noticing more resilience coming up within communities and families? Where are we still kind of
So I think the
struggling?
food insecurity is a huge issue. I
Okay.
mean, it's just a massive issue. I can't keep enough food. And to be honest, there are, with the Ingles in Swannanoa not reopening, there are a lot of communities
And that
that,
is definitely not reopening.
well, it's not reopening right now. They own the whole property that stretches from Ace Hardware all the way to Ingles. So I believe what has been told is that they're going to rebuild the Ingles on the AC Hardware area.
Okay. Is there
So
another big grocery store like that near you
no,
guys in Swanton? So there's nothing then for you guys.
there is a local grocery store that is ran really well, but it's not at
Not
the
enough.
level.
Yeah.
That's
That
right.
that
It's not going to have all of your name brand,
mhm.
things. It's just kind of so yeah, the closest one is 20 minutes away, which isn't a big deal. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's no big deal. But there are a
But
lot of people who don't have vehicles.
I was about to say, if you're reliant on the bus and the bus
Yep,
took you right to Ingles,
yep,
that's not so simple. And taking a bus if you have kids
yep.
and bringing the groceries back on the bus and then having to walk.
Disabled, elderly.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's just not it's not as easy as people make
No,
it out to be. So and we're all about convenience, right? And so having food is important, having fresh produce is important. And so we have seen a drop in available food resources since it was originally through Manna,
okay.
and Manna was supplying different hubs that those hubs were then supporting us. And
Mm.
so Manna recently cut that off. And so we're
Do
having to
you
now
feel like
apply.
there's less funding or other companies are being impacted or?
Yeah, I think that there's less funding.
Okay.
I think that there's also more restrictions. And
Oh,
so
okay.
they have to, Manna has other guidelines that they have to abide by because of the grants that they were approved by.
Gotcha.
And so that has eliminated some of the other hubs that were receiving to stop. So now we have to apply as a direct partner. And unfortunately, there's a waiting list. Like it could take a year.
Really?
So there's a lot of issues, financially, and
Yeah.
just people not having the means to be able to afford the economy that we live in. I mean, my husband and I, there is no shame in our game. We both have several jobs and always have, with 4 kids, because we want to be able to supply, what we need to for them to enjoy life, but it doesn't come easy. And so for those that have disabilities or vehicle issues or, just any kind of limitation, it's hard.
What lessons do you feel that you've learned from going through all of this, from being a small business owner to now a non-for-profit?
Well, when it comes to the business and nonprofit, it is all very similar,
Okay.
except It is. A nonprofit is a business. And so when you have the experience as a business owner, a nonprofit is easier. Of course, there are different terminologies and things that you have to learn and different tax things that you have to do and so forth. But all in all, it is the part I love, I think, most about it is that I own nothing. And a lot of people are like, Chris, why do you love that? I'm like, well, because it's not mine. I mean, I tell the volunteers and I tell the community all the time that, you know, it's just as much mine as it is yours. I mean, it doesn't have my name on it. And so even though I represent it and I take responsibility, um,
You
it's
feel
ours.
it's the community's.
Oh yeah, for sure. It doesn't have my name on it. And um, so whenever they come to volunteer, I say, you take ownership in this, take ownership in it because what we do with it is how long we can last and longevity and we are all making a difference. I can't do it by myself. It's too big. And then I think the biggest thing that we've learned through Hurricane Helene is that community, it can come together and reunite and make a difference. And that we actually don't need a lot to maintain. A lot of people saw that firsthand when we didn't have a TV, didn't have
Oh, yeah.
power.
Not even running water there for a while.
Yeah. And so, sometimes I'm a big believer that less is more. And one of my other mottos, I guess, is see a need, fill a need. We've learned very quickly that social media can be a negative, but it can also be a positive. And so whenever I sit down with people and I say, you need a new home or you need a vehicle or you need, whatever that is, I can't do that. Like I can't write you a check. I can't. Right. But if we capture your story, right, in a very, considerate way, and we say, this is what's happened. We've lost this. It's a big need. And then when we see a need and we fill a need, the more eyes that see the need, the bigger the need we can meet. And
do you feel it's difficult for people to reach out and ask for that support?
Some people have a really hard time with it. Some people don't have a problem at all. And those are the people that we have to, just it's a very careful line. Because
balancing game.
Yeah, out of good, evil comes, and so you are going to have people who take advantage of the situation. But there are people who I just got a call today about a woman who needs to find help for her mom. Her floor is caving in. She's afraid she's going to fall and get hurt, and that's because of Hurricane Helene damage. And she hasn't reached out to FEMA. She hasn't reached out to any kind of nonprofit, and we are 11 months in. And so there are people who have a tendency to just know somebody else needs it more than me. And I want to encourage them to not do that because there's enough that they can receive help too. And sometimes when we say no, we're stopping someone else's blessing. And so
I like that. That's an important point to be aware of, that when you're saying no, you're stopping the good coming. And that also impacts the other person who's trying to do something.
That's right. That's right. When people across the world, or just, even the United States have given so wholeheartedly resources, and they're like, hey, sign up. We're looking for people to bless. We it's there, and people need to not take advantage, but they need to reap those blessings. So
right.
Some people have a hard time, and then it gets more comfortable. People that come to the blessing barn, a lot of them come for essentials, yes, but they also come for community, just to talk, listen to music, pray, say hello. So all of that is healing too.
So it goes back to community again, having each other's backs.
It does. Hmm. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
it does. In any capacity, whether it's, physical labor, a hug, whether it's tangible, whether it's just words of encouragement or prayer, it's very important. And whatever we can't do, we try to partner and help do. I am not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a contractor. And so I'm a big believer that, it's all about collaboration and not competition, you know. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
the best nonprofit in the county. Like it's about, hey, I can't fill that need, but Hope for NC is here on Tuesdays and they know all about that. So come and talk to somebody who does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a contractor, but we can partner with another organization that's familiar.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen, for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
story.
Yes,
Listeners, we're going to take a moment to just pause and take a deep breath. So just pause and deep breath in because that's a lot. And it's important when we're having these conversations to recognize that we do need to pause and our nervous system can get activated.
sure.
Um, Thank you so much for coming. And
My
thank you for
pleasure.
listening to Notes to My Nervous System. And if you'd like to learn more, visit mindcircuit.org. And if you would like to help out and give back, how can they get a hold of the Blessing Project?
You can donate securely on our website, which is theblessingproject.org, THE blessingproject.org. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Until next time, be kind to your nervous system. Okay, we're gonna pause and then do a little bit more if that's okay.
Of course.
Awesome. Trying to do like 2 30-minute ones to get them out there. Hmm. Do you need any water or anything?
No, honey, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. I'm thinking of just asking about a moment where you were like, yes, this is correct. We are, yes, we're doing this, and this is why.
At the beginning.
Yeah. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Okay. Let me do an intro. All right. Welcome back to Notes to My Nervous System. I'm Erin, and today we're reflecting on where we are 1 year after Hurricane Helene. If you joined us last time, you met Kristen Hicks, the founder of the Blessing Project. Today we're looking at what has grown. I can't talk some days, but hey, it's real talk, and you know it when I mess up my words. So today we're going to look at what has grown out of that first spark of hope. What was that moment when you spoke to you that made you decide, yes, this is what we're doing. We're on the right path. This is how I can show up.
Hmm. Good question. I think for me, um, it was to see God work in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, like we would be out of something, and at the very beginning, even now, and we would be out of something, and then I would just say, Lord, like, I don't, we're out. I don't have the resources. I don't know where it's coming from, but we're out. And then sure enough, I mean, within an hour, we would have a truckload pull up. Hey, I'm from so and so, and I have a truckload full of blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, I thought it was a joke. And then little by little, I started to see it happen all the time, all the time. I remember there was a gentleman who came, lost everything, lost his house, his vehicle, was given a bike. He had ridden past the Blessing Barn. I try to stop any walkers or bike riders and I
Mm-hmm.
just wave them down. Hey, they don't know what we're doing. They might think you have to pay or whatever. And so I waved him down. I said, hey, buddy, if you want to come in, we've got supplies, everything's free. hot food, all of that. And so he
Mhm.
he pulled over his bike and we got to talking and he said, you wouldn't happen to have any money, would you? Because I need to do laundry. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. I don't typically give money.
Mhm.
I typically just give supplies, but the Lord spoke to me and said yes. And so I was walking back. I thought I'll give him $10 to get
Mhm.
him, what he needed. Went back to my wallet and there was $100 bill in there and it was donated. I don't carry $100 bills, but there was
Oh, okay.
somebody who donated $100 bill to the Blessing Project. And I went to go pull out that 10 and the
Mhm.
Lord spoke and said 100. And I thought, Lord, that's a lot of money to give somebody, you know? And so I said, I questioned it. I'm like, no, Lord, I just can't. I grabbed the 10, started
Mhm.
walking towards him. The Lord said, stop and give 100. So I went back, pulled out the $100 bill, and I said, I need you to take this. And he goes, and he just was like floored. So he ended up leaving. Long story short, him and I are now friends, and we have had just a great relationship. I've seen him thrive time after time. He's doing
Mhm.
really well.
Oh,
But
good.
but about 30 minutes later, one of my volunteers had come and said, Kristen, can you come to the um, holiday shop?
Mhm.
So I went to the holiday shop. She goes, Kristen, we're out of toys. Like we are so busy, we have no toys. And so I went back to our kind of storage shed and went in there and thought, oh my gosh, like we've passed out everything. We have nothing. And we didn't have any money. Like we didn't have any money. I was gonna have to make a post about how
Mhm.
we didn't have any. And sure enough, within 30 minutes to an hour, car pulls in and says, I was driving down the road and I had a calling on my heart to turn around, and the Lord said to give you this, and it was $1,000.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I thought, Lord, you know, I'm grateful for those testimonies, for those tests and those trials, because
Mhm.
I feel confident that He was looking to see. And my pastor always says this: if God can get it through you, He will give it to you. And because I was willing to give the 100, I
Mhm.
believe wholeheartedly that He had trusted me with 1,000. So we went that very night, spent $1,000, restocked the blessing barn for the very next time, and it was perfect. Then we ran out again. Here comes a truckload full of brand new toys, and I'm like, He's always supplied. So I don't know what your question was, but I don't know why I felt led to tell that story.
I love that story. It talks about resilience. It talks
Yep,
about trusting yourself,
yep,
trusting your community,
yep,
leaning on each other, being
yep.
open to getting and receiving help, which is, I know for me, has been difficult. You know,
Yeah,
I was raised, you're independent, you do your own thing, you
yep.
work hard, and all of a sudden a hurricane comes and all of those rules go out the window and you need each other.
That's right. And you had made the comment about when you knew, like, this is what I was going to do. I literally gave myself through December and thought once the holiday shop was over and the
Mhm.
supplies pretty much, that would be the end of it.
That
I
would be
didn't
it.
think, yeah, I didn't think that it would just keep coming. And as soon as I gave something away, I
Hmm.
would get 5, 10 more. It was like, here's a heater because it's starting to get cold.
Right.
And I would pass out my last heater, and then here would come 10 more. And I thought, I knew that I was in the right place because we were blessing so many people and we never went without. Like I've gone,
That just told you,
yeah,
yes,
it
this
just
is what we have to
reaffirmed
do.
that God was in it and that He was going to supply. We've been 11 months and we have not applied for a grant.
Not
And
one.
not one. Now, there have been people who have said, hey, we have decided that our grant wants to bless you, but I do not have a grant writer. And we have not been
Mhm.
And so, and that's not to brag. That's just because I simply don't have time and I haven't hired a grant writer. But
No,
that's just
that's
saying
wonderful.
how God has supplied. And we still have people donating and we're very blessed. Now we're starting to see a huge a huge drop.
Well, I
But
was going to ask, we're coming up on the year.
mhm.
What are you seeing change with the need and the donations since that first
um
couple months?
yeah, the needs are huge when it comes to
Okay.
food and water still. Um Huge need for that. We have to buy a lot of it,
Hmm.
which we're fine doing. And this, the donations are slim. We do have the benefit concert planned, which is
Oh,
on the
tell me.
yes, it is on the 1 year anniversary. So I have 4 kids, and my oldest daughter lost her dad to a drug overdose right before her 13th birthday. And so on that 1 year anniversary, I really wanted to change that day around. Not that we didn't want to remember him, but I didn't want her dwelling on, how she was told, what she could have done, where she was at,
Right.
what she saw. Um, and so we booked a venue, a small room, and invited her coaches and her friends, her family, her youth pastor, her teachers, and we surrounded her and we prayed and we laughed and we told stories and we gave her a gift. It was a ring with her dad's ashes in it.
Oh,
And we had pictures taken and it was just a good time. And she had gotten baptized that year. She had made good grades, good friends, good choices. And that was something to celebrate. And so with with Hurricane Helene, my husband and I were thinking we need something for that day. I
mhm.
want there to be healing on that day. Some that we've done a lot in the last year, and that is something to celebrate. And
Absolutely.
so, and I didn't want people at home alone. I think that there's power in being together in community, and so I couldn't think of anywhere else I would rather be than in a room full of people remembering and reclaiming and rejoicing and reflecting on how far we had come.
So
And so
that's holding the heartbreak and the healing together.
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
so we thought, well, that's what we'll do. And then in return, if we can raise continued relief effort resources, we will do that. And so it is a benefit concert. And so, we hope to raise some money because this is not the end. We have many years to go. And so, um, we booked the Harris Cherokee Center, and we have some local artists and some incredibly talented groups that are going to be there. We're excited just to have a night of healing. And
And what
yeah,
day and times?
it is on the exact 1 year. So
Oh,
Saturday, September 27th,
okay.
we will be at Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville. It's going to be a nighttime show. Doors open at 5.
Okay.
You can find more information on our website at theblessingproject.org, and we're calling it the reunion concert because we've kind of all had this shared experience, and it's time for all of us to come back and have a reunion, and just reflect and remember. So it's going to be good.
Oh, that sounds great. If somebody wants to help with this, how would they get in contact or what can they do? Or is there anything you're still looking for to help with this?
Yeah, so we've kind of tidied it up as with us being a month out. We've kind of really tightened up that. My biggest goal, and I've
Hmm.
told, we have a concert committee that meets. My biggest goal is that no locals volunteer. So I don't want
Okay.
anyone who has been through it, helped, served. I just want them to enjoy. And so we're getting people from out of state to come in or just out of the impacted areas,
Right.
to come in and serve so that we can be present and be still and enjoy. So if people want to donate to help with the recovering
Hmm.
efforts, they can do that Online. If they want to honor a honor a hero, a local hero or an organization, they can do that on our website as well. If they are looking to possibly be a beneficiary, they can nominate themselves on the website as well. So under
Explain
the,
the honor a hero.
so I, you know, we have done a lot. And whether that be a guy in his pickup truck or, bringing water to his neighbor, or whether that be somebody who helped pull somebody from a building, or whether that be somebody who, um, you know, started a nonprofit, whatever it is, like we want to hear about those stories and those people and hopefully give them a shout out at the reunion concert and
Oh,
just honor
okay.
them.
So it's
So,
a way for people to recognize other people.
yep, yep,
That's beautiful.
yeah. So we want to look back at some of the rebuilding efforts and all that we've done, and so that's kind of their opportunity to be a part of the evening if they want to kind of show some love. So
Oh, that's so lovely.
thank you. Yeah, it's all about, even though the Blessing Project is kind of hosting it, it is more. It's about everybody. It's about
And
everybody.
what are you hoping the Blessing Project's going to be in the next year?
I tell everybody, and I think you may have said this, we were birthed out of a hurricane, but we're here for the hardships. And
Mhm.
so, I have been through a thing. I've been a single parent. I have lost her father to a drug overdose. You
Mm.
know, both my husband and I lost our jobs in the same week. And so we've been through lots of things. And so we just want to help. And I think that looks like, feeding the hungry,
Mhm.
clothing, and, just essentials. And so we'll see. I mean, we have the food trailer that's going to be up and operating soon. We have the Blessing Bus. We potentially have another food truck coming. And so we want to just see a need and fill it.
And this is all volunteers helping with all this.
Yes, I am the only paid employee.
That's
At the,
incredible.
I'm sorry.
That's just incredible that you have so many people stepping up in the community.
Yeah, we have a
Still, a
lot.
year out.
I know, and they are just committed volunteers. I just love them dearly, and they love being there, and I love them there. And so, it could be people that have lost their jobs and just don't want to be home, which I don't recommend. Like that you
Yeah.
need to get out and be in the
No,
sun.
isolating is just awful for everyone. We've all been through trauma.
Yep.
And so we need each other. We need to be out and about,
Yes,
not isolating, sitting in our depression.
that's
It's
right.
not healthy for us to sit in that.
That's right. So getting out, being involved is it's healing, and people, I used to tell my daughter when she lost her dad, I'm like, you can have your time in your room, you can listen to music, you can cry, you can laugh, you can have all of those emotions, but I'm only going to give you, a certain time. And then we're going to come out and we're going to get in the sun and we're going to talk and we're going to go back to school and we're going to cook and we're going to ride our bike. We can't stay in that. And so, I encourage people. It's been a lot of people that have showed up at the barn to receive are now giving. And so I love it. Love for them to do that. So
So, what I'm hearing from you is that healing doesn't happen alone.
Absolutely not. It happens in a village. It happens in community. Healing, is in all forms. Yes, it can be between you and the Lord, and I recommend you starting there. But it can also be through people and
Mhm.
conversation. There's many forms, and I'm sure you know that more than me.
We're all experts when it comes to this. We've all been in this together. We have a shared lived experience that I don't think any of us expected.
Yep.
Being a girl from the Chicagoland area, moving to the mountains, I didn't really register, oh, maybe I should prepare for a hurricane.
No, no,
No, no,
none of us
no.
prepared.
So we're all in this together, we're all healing together, and it
Good.
sounds like you found a beautiful way to help our community heal. So thank you for that.
No, my pleasure. God is good.
And
I'm just happy to be a part of it.
and thank you for reminding us that even in the aftermath of a storm like this, blessings can be built.
That's right. That's right. That's God's plan is to see destruction and make turn something good out of it. There's been a lot of good out of it, you know. And there's, a lot of people didn't even know their neighbors before now.
That's very
Um,
true. I've met so many people and
yep,
made connections with so many people because we didn't have a choice. We
yep,
had to lean and talk to each other.
yep. So there's been lots of good, and we want to continue pushing out the good. And so I'm a big believer in what you focus on expands.
Mm,
That's a saying that I've told my kids all the time. So if you focus on the positive, more positive will come. If you focus on, the blessings, more blessings will come. So what you focus on expands, and that's what we want to do with the Blessing Project is just focus on, meeting the needs and figuring out what that looks like, and then with community and people and resources, we'll make it happen.
well, again, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I really appreciate it. That's all we have for today's episode. I promise to keep these quick and to the point for you. Join us next time as we continue to explore the stories of resilience and community. Until then, remember Kristen Hicks' powerful message. One person's decision to act can truly change everything. Thank you for listening. That was my first time doing all this.
You did great.
Oh, thanks. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm learning.
Hey, that's a good place to be. At least
I just want to get information out there from the actual people who are in it, who are
yeah,
in the storm, who have been impacted by it themselves and are also trying to help others.
yeah, it's good
I,
stuff.
I don't want people to forget about Asheville and everybody in Swananoa and everybody in Batcave and Lake
Yep,
Lure.
yep,
And it's been
yep.
a year, but it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. My kids.
Thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember, it's okay not to feel okay, and it's normal to feel overwhelmed sometimes. It's just your body trying to protect you, your nervous system doing what it does to try and keep you safe. However, if you're looking for more ways to feel calm and grounded, check out my app, Mind Circuit. It's on both Android and iPhones. And if you got a question you'd love me to unpack or one of my guests to come back, send the question my way, the episode suggestion my way, or the guest that you would like to see again. And quick little disclaimer. Yes, I'm a licensed therapist, but this podcast is for education. This is not a personal therapy session right now. The ideas I share with you are tools that can be tried by anyone, like the ones in my Mind Circuit app, but they don't replace working with your own therapist, coach, healer. And if you're ever in crisis, please call 988, text 988, or your local emergency number right away. Time for your micro healing moment. Want to shift your mood fast? Notice one thing you can be grateful for in this exact moment. Hold it in your mind as you breathe in and imagine sharing it as you breathe out. Gratitude activates the brain circuits linked to safety and connection. That's your 30-second joy anchor and your micro healing moment. Small steps create big shifts.